So in my last video, I started a kind of a series about stories from the trail. I talked about some of the stupid things I've done in ultra running that have ended races, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about something I've always found humorous. Trail running is not only great for the community. Running ultras is a great place to not only tell stories but also collect stories. Over time, you hear some pretty funny things of all these people who've run these trails. Ultra running really kind of attracts a special kind of person. And there's a spectrum of people on that. You got the more serious athletes to all of the strange goofballs just love the community who don't really care about anything other than just kind of hanging out, partying, and bebopping on the trails, which I love all of them. They all have their place. But in running in general, I have seen some pretty crazy things and some pretty gross things, and some things I've just kind of gotten used to. When you first get into running, aid stations on the road and things like that are not like they are in ultra running. Ultra running, they're basically buffets. These are eating contests with running in the middle. They're fantastic, but if you're somebody who kind of thinks about all of the gross things you do in an ultra marathon, with reaching in your britches to lube things, touching things, snot rockets, going to the bathroom, and realizing there's not a lot of places to really wash your hands out there. You can sanitize, but not everyone does that. I carry a little bottle of sanitizer if things get messy on the trail. But I'm not everybody, and I'm not the guy who's reaching in the M&M. So when you run through these aid stations and you're touching all this food, you start to think about what everyone else touched. You touch the food, so you start becoming an expert in what is the cleanest food I can grab out of here, and it doesn't look like somebody just kind of manhandled all of it. M&Ms are always bad. I worked in aid stations and saw a wet bowl of M&Ms because somebody ran through and reached in with a big sweaty hand and made the M&M start to bleed. Then my then 13-year-old was working the aid station with me, was eating some M&Ms, and I'm like, where did you get those? And of course, she got them from the bowl of the nasty M&Ms. Lesson learned. So these lessons are good to pass on to people. If you're running through an aid station in an ultra, just be cognizant of what's reached in the bowl and what that thing touched before it reached in the bowl. There's always a kind of a cross-contamination going on, but that's not even the grossest. I'll tell you something that's gross that happened to me, but this was after a road race. I remember seeing some friends after a race walking away and seeing a big wad of snot on my hand, and realizing the guy who just finished before me in the race, who I knew, had just blown a big snot rocket into his hand, and then when he finished, he turned around and shook my hand. That was the grossest thing that ever happened to me in a race, whether trail or road, ever, for many, many years. And then getting into ultra running, and this wasn't even the first time this happened multiple times to me. There are various emergencies that happen. Say, take the Marine Corps Marathon. There's a probably about a mile stretch that happens soon after the start of the Marine Corps Marathon. It's where everyone takes off to go to the bathrooms. It's wooded. You got men and women standing hip to hip in the woods, getting their business done. They give you porta-johns, but you always get those nerves. The first time I saw this, I was completely shocked. See, some of us care about our times a lot. Some of us don't care a lot about our times. And to me, the longer the distance, the less you should care about the seconds. You should care more about the minutes over the long haul, wasting lots of amount of time. But I've never in my life had such a need to get a PR that I would literally drop trowel and just absolutely explode out of the backside on the road. And that's the first nastiest thing that I ever saw in a race. Was a young woman. I'm going to say young woman because I don't know her age. I never saw her face. But in that part of the Marine Corps Marathon where everyone's running off to the bathroom, this lady not only did not go into the woods, she stood in the gutter of the road and just dropped trowel. Rear to facing the crowd coming by, and I just saw her absolutely lose her lunch and not throwing up all over the ground. And I remember thinking, I don't understand. Because here we are, a mile and a half, 2 miles into a marathon. Like, what are you going to do for the next 24 miles with that because there was no cleanup. It was literally and then taken off. And I didn't understand that. They weren't winning it because, I was back with the 4-hour marathoners. And so it's not like she was an elite. And, that baffled me for a lot of years until I think not last year, year before, I was running a trail race. And that was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen in running until that point. Because it didn't make any sense. And this next one didn't make any more sense than that, but I still can't even understand. It made less sense. Here I go. Running on a trail race, an interlupal race, there was a woman. I would say I won't explain too much detail because I don't want the person to identify themselves. But if it's them, they probably know who it is. But I'm sure they don't watch this channel. I was on a trail race, so there was not a lot of people around me. But there was a woman ahead of me. I don't know why this was all women. Men maybe go deeper in the woods as to not get ourselves in trouble through exposure. I don't know. But I was running down a trail and a woman 2 foot off the trail didn't even try to hide herself, did the same thing as the woman in the Marine Corps Marathon. Just dropped trowel, let loose, right in my face. I mean, I was probably 20 feet behind her, pulled up her pants, and just kept going. And you have a lot of time to think in ultra marathons, and I'm thinking, this is a multi-hour race. I mean, this is a long day. This is a day of running in the woods. Are you really saving that much time not going deeper in the woods to do your business? And I think any of us who've been trail runners have, if you're trail running long enough, let's just say, you've had to do your business in the woods. I know some people that are adamant they would never do it. But I'm pretty sure most people, if you do it long enough, there is a day that comes. That's why I carry wet wipes in the backpack on long runs. Because you never know. But this was like an emergency stop and go touchdown. Dropped kids off. What would be the pool? It's not the pool, it's the ground. The ground. And just taking off. I mean, she probably saved a good minute or two not going deeper in the woods. But then I started thinking, there was no cleanup. There was no, and I'm just sitting here going, I don't even understand the situation. You're not saving any time in an ultra marathon, so you didn't have any kind of way to clean yourself up. You didn't care that there was people behind you. It was baffling. So to this day, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It was more humorous because I really honestly don't care. I've had 5 kids. I've seen it all. I've had it all on me. At this point, what does it matter anymore? But those are the grossest things I've ever seen. I got tons of story about funny, cool stuff I've seen. I've met so many people, from rocket scientists and people all along the spectrum of life. And that's what I love about this community. And in one sense, yes, it's completely disgusting. And in another sense, this makes you smile thinking, you gotta love our community. To be that comfortable with the community, to do something like that just makes me smile. And it makes me almost more, in a weird sense, be prouder to be a part of the community that kind of stuff can go on and no one bats an eye. It does make me question a lot of things. What are you people doing out there? What are we doing? What are you saving a minute in an 8-hour race? It's just crazy to me. So I don't know which one is the grossest, because they're both gross, between the Marine Corps Marathon and this ultra marathon I ran. It's more about the thinking of the process of what you're saving with kind of, that touchdown and going, and just not caring who sees you. Marine Corps Marathon, there's thousands of people, so I wasn't alone in that. Lots of eyes were scarred that day, not just mine, but the one in the woods and the ultra, that was just for my eyes. I get to carry that sight. She didn't even have to see it. She's looking the other way. I have to carry that burden for forever. I love you, trail runners. I love telling some of these stories. I thought I'd just hop on real quick and share that one with you. And if you're interested in the really stupid thing I did in an ultramarathon that ended my day, go ahead and click one of these directions, and that will take you to the story I just released the other day. Oh, and if you're on here, go ahead and share your grossest story. Keep it clean so it doesn't get flagged by YouTube, but what's your grossest thing you've ever seen? Let me know. Take care.